fellow Berlin enthusiasts. Welcome to the Green Me Berlin podcast. This is where I go out and chat to Berlin's coolest creators, founders, and free spirits of all those unique eco-minded projects in the capital. I do my very best to extract their stories, secrets, and passions to help you get lots and lots of inspiration of what you can do and experience in this magical city, and how we can all shake the world a little bit. Super glad to have you with me on this journey. Now let's go green in this urban jungle. And remember, always be prepared to be amazed. Hey friends, very happy to welcome you to another show, the first episode of 2018. Woohoo! The year's already a month old, and I hope you had a super amazing start and are ready to learn a lot, grow a lot, laugh a lot, and see all your dreams and hopes become reality. Now, if you're dreaming of a greener future where people are just kind to each other, smile more, love and respect one another, and love and respect our beautiful planet, be assured that you're not alone in this. There's me. But not only me, of course. More and more people start questioning things and really try to have a good impact out there. Believe me, if you're more on the critical side and think that we're still not enough to truly matter, trust me, you have the power to move things out there. Every one of us does. Even if it's just you or a small group of people. The best proof is my guest on the show today, an incredible female social entrepreneur and passionate environmentalist. Please get excited to listen to Vera Günther, the co-founder of Mimycri. Mimycri is a social startup that is really one of a kind and totally expanded my awareness of what's possible in the field of circular economy, which, as you know, I've been diving in a lot lately. What Mimycri does, there are a bunch of people who collect leftover rubber boats, which bring hundreds of refugees over to the shores of Europe and turn them into super beautifully designed bags and backpacks. Exactly. Wow. And my chat to Vera was probably one of the most touching, at the same time, most empowering and motivating interviews I had. Getting such a truthful account of what's happening out there right now from someone who's actually been on the ground, it really, really touched me. At the same time, it's so encouraging to listen to Vera and feel her passion, how they made it work as a team. On top of that, with their beautiful products, they also prove that sustainability doesn't have to be a trade-off anymore. All in all, I feel super aligned with a lot of Vera's values, especially her positive outlook on things. So please have a listen. It's such a unique story, and you get such a better picture than the one painted by the mass media. You know, we're kind of living in times of a lot of uncertainty and fear of the other, but I couldn't imagine anyone who would stay negative and anxious after listening to Vera's words. I'm sure it convinces every critic. So, Mr. Trump, please listen to this. Anyways, before jumping in, I just want to give a quick apology. The sound of my voice on this audio isn't the greatest. Vera sounds great though, and that is what truly matters. But the reason is that we recorded the show when I was kind of in transition on my way to Australia. Yep, I'm in the Aussie sister city of Berlin in Melbourne, connecting with the local eco scene here and seeing if we can kick off Green Me Melbourne. It's pretty exciting. I'm meeting lots and lots of interesting people and projects, and I can feel a crazy strong tie between Berlin and Melbourne. Like last week, I joined Jessie from Leftover Lovers for a zero-waste cooking workshop here, and turns out she's been living in Berlin and worked with Pepe and friends at the Nowhere Kitchen. I tell you, it's no coincidence. Big trouble of getting over here, of course, was the flight. So I'm definitely feeling guilty about that. We've been trying to offset our flights. I know it's not a perfect solution, but we donated quite a bit to an organization called Conservation International. They strive to protect tropical forests around the world, working directly with the communities who live in and depend on these forests. If you're interested, check it out. I'll throw the link in the show notes. Still waiting for solar powered planes though. I really believe that it's key to broaden our horizons and see what's going on in the rest of the world and learn about other social, sustainable, eco-minded projects. Everything is connected on this planet. Humans are all connected. And we all need to join forces in order to protect it. Now, if you're curious to see what's moving in the green scene on the other end of the world, stay tuned and follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and soon on www.greenme.melbourne. And if you're around in Melbourne, of course, let us know. And maybe you even want to join one of our first tours over here. Now, I kept you waiting long enough again. Me always with my super long intros. All right, now without any further pre-talks, here comes Vera of Mimycri. Hi Vera, welcome to the Green Villain podcast. Hope you had a fantastic start into 2018 and are full of positive energy and exciting plans for the year.
Yeah, thank you so much. First of all, for having us in the show. That's very great to talk to you. And yeah, indeed, we did have a fantastic start into the new year. We sometimes in the last weeks of last year we sweated and worked a lot in order to get all the products for the crowdfunding that were ordered out there to the people who wanted them before Christmas, and in the end we managed to do so. So that was a great feeling, and now we start into the new year with plenty of new material, nearly 1 ton of broken rubber boats that we can turn into beautiful bags and backpacks and other products. And we also were in contact with some artists and some really inspirational people over the last month, and we would like to explore those options of working together as well. So we're really excited about the new year and about everything that awaits us.
Wow, it sounds like, yeah, I can really feel your excitement here and the energy. It's really, really cool. So what did you do to start into the new year? What did you do to celebrate what you basically created and achieved over the last months?
Yeah, actually, on New Year's Eve, part of our team was actually together, and at midnight we were standing on a roof in Berlin, and we're looking into the magical firework sky, and we're really like doing a big round of hugs and celebrations, because just 1 year earlier this was still an idea and a dream, and we weren't really sure how it would go and how it would develop. And then 1 year later we stood there, and it's still not clear where it will go, but it exists and it's there. And yeah, it was an amazing feeling, and it's actually important to celebrate, because sometimes when you all the time want to go further and do more, you forget to stop to do that. So it was a really good moment also for the team energy to stop and appreciate what has happened over the last 12 months.
Oh man, yeah, that sounds so beautiful. And you're absolutely right. It's important to celebrate, to just stop and just really look behind what you've done and what you created. Definitely. There's not a lot of people are not doing this enough. So yeah, it's super great to have you on the show today, also in general, because I mean the timing really couldn't be better. The Fashion Week and with it also the Ethical Fashion Show are just about to kick off. When the episode is going live, it's already happened, but so the whole world is basically going to look on Berlin to learn about what's possible in sustainable fashion. I don't know if are you actually involved in it this year already, or is it going to be a busy time for you guys?
Yeah, so we will be definitely attending lots of events and the Ethical Fashion Show, and be going there. This time we will not have our own exhibition, mimicry exhibition, but we will go there, of course, with our products, and we're really keen to meet new people and see what's going on, and to exchange and to be inspired, and to get, I guess, a really big push in feeling not alone in this, and basically realizing that there's a whole movement behind us. And I think really this gives a lot of energy, and I'm super curious and looking forward to it. And I'm sure we will come back with a million ideas.
That's awesome. Yeah. And I mean, you just said you're going to there to be inspired, but I'm sure that you are also going to inspire lots of other people that you talk to, because I mean, when I first heard about your work, I was really blown away. And also everyone I told about you reacted like, what? So just to repeat for the listeners out there, you are upcycling broken refugee rubber boats into stunning handmade designer bags and backpacks. That's awesome. And I mean, upcycling and reusing materials that are already out there becomes more and more common, and especially here in Berlin. We've got really a great range of amazing upcycling designers. And, you know, since I started the circular economy tours last year with my business partner, Ariana, who also happens to be an upcycling designer herself, I've really, really seen and learned a lot about this. And it's crazy actually to realize how many perfectly usable materials are out there only to end up on the next landfill. So there's a lot going on here in this field. But your take on this is for sure something I've never come across before. Probably because you're the first ones to do something like that, right? Or do you know of any similar projects out there?
Yeah, maybe I'll start from thinking about the project as a whole, and I'm sure that there were a lot of people working on the Greek islands, and not only being overwhelmed by what the situation for the people who arrived there are, but also the amounts of waste that are connected with that and that are lying on the beaches. So I think we're not the only ones who had the idea to do something with the materials, but then to really bring it that far to take the boat material and produce something new out of it. I don't know at the moment who else is doing that.
I don't think there's anyone. And yeah, I mean, we're already diving right into the heavy stuff, probably the story, how everything started. I mean, it's really powerful, and there's been a lot of courage involved, I would say. But at the same time, it also really shows that everyone can do something. So, as you just said, as you just mentioned, the whole idea came up while you were volunteering to help refugees on the Greek island called Chios.
Mm-hmm.
What exactly were you doing there to help, and what motivated, if you can say motivated, yeah, but what motivated you to go there in the first place?
Yeah, that's well. It's not the heavy stuff. I guess it's the interesting stuff.
That's good.
Well, in 2015, I was already in Berlin involved in working together with refugees and wanting to support the whole process. But then I had some time off from work, and there were some friends telling me that there was like really help needed on the Greek islands, and especially on Chios. So that's why I decided to just go there and see how I could help and support. And then arriving there, realizing that basically all the work that is done by tiny organizations, basically consisting of individuals who just wanted to show that they would want to welcome people. And then Nora was joining me, and so we were there together. And basically,
have you been? Did you know each other before?
Yeah. We were really close friends from university.
All right.
And I was like, she was. Yeah, I wanted to. It was very emotional being there, and so I talked a lot to her. And then at one moment, she was like, "Vera, you know what? I'm just coming." And it was like it. Yeah, it was really. It was so good. It was really so good to share this with someone and to go through this with somebody else. And then the work on the island is basically that people arrive with these rubber boats, and most of the times in the night, because otherwise they get caught and taken back. So it was in the winter, so it's really cold. It's around 5 degrees or something, and often they're for hours in the cold water, and often they're super wet because there are too many people in a boat. And then you have cars stocked with with dry clothes and with food and something to drink, and you patrol basically the coast. And the moment you find people on the shores or at the beaches, you help them getting out of the water and getting dry and bringing them like to a safe place, and then they get picked up by a bus and brought to the registration camp. But also when people are arriving, they leave everything behind. They can't like leave anything there. So the boat and the life vests and a lot of wet clothes and everything is left behind. And I'm really strong environmentalist. So there were moments when I was like, oh my God, this is like, of course, it's not the most horrible part of it, but it's like, so we was also cleaning the beaches. And at one point we were thinking like, well, with all the donation money we have, we buy new clothes, but actually we collect every day wet clothes that we throw away.
Yeah.
So why don't we just like get a washing machine and try to like wash the clothes that we collect, and then we can reuse them for the next people who arrive, and we save a lot of money for other important things.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's when we like started collecting money and like buying washing machine and a dryer and like basically starting a small project of recycling the clothes. And I think then we had to both go back to Germany because of our work. And once we were back, we felt
sorry. So you were basically still in your jobs, in your normal jobs.
Exactly. So I was I already signed a contract with a new job when I was in Kiev, and Nora was still in her old job. So we had to go back eventually. And once we were back, we felt like we still need and want to do something, but we want to do something that's not just, you know, how can I say, like the power imbalance of us helping someone, but actually more of like working together and doing something that just shows that there's an alternative way to how we can in our society like live together.
Yeah, you mean as opposed to just basically just donating money or so?
Exactly. I mean, I think that everything has it's great to do. No, it's great to sit together and learn German, but and we just wanted to do something where it's just working together, and it's really this kind of like on eye level kind of cooperation. And we brought a tiny piece of boat material just because it feels so weird to throw all these boats away when the material is actually really great. And then we just asked a friend who's a fashion designer, like, can you do something out of this? And then he made a tiny bag, which, well, now we would maybe not like sell it or promote it because it's maybe not the most beautiful one, but it's still.
But that doesn't matter. That was the start.
Exactly. It was like it. I think at that point we thought it's the most beautiful thing we've ever seen, and yeah. And then basically we thought like, okay, if we can do something out of this, like we can really try.
That's so amazing. I mean, like there were just so many points in this whole story. I mean, you like being an environmentalist and like really also not only seeing into one direction, of course, like helping the refugees and solving or not solving, but trying to minimize the humanitarian crisis is important, but then really like having such an open mind and open eyes and seeing that actually something positive can be created out of that. So, I mean, so many people, I think, out there are getting scared and overwhelmed and nearly paralyzed when they see pictures and hear constantly in the news about what's going on. And there's a lot of fear and negativity involved. But you actually decided to do something. And that's really the way to go, I think, to show that there is something positive to be seen in that. Actually, was there any key moment while you were there, while you were on the island on the ground, that impacted you most?
Yeah, I think, I mean, definitely two, I would say two key moments. One is that it was it felt incredibly embarrassing having to kind of explain European politics to people who are who just, basically survived in our freezing and had to throw away their passport and basically don't have anything anymore. Why we would not even provide a sleeping bag for them. That was a key
Why
moment.
was that? Why?
Oh, well, I mean, I guess it really is political interest to make it as unpleasant as possible to arrive in Europe and to not create. I mean, this is at least, I would say, a common understanding of European external politics, to say the less nice it is and pleasant to come to Europe, the fewer people would arrive. And so basically you stand there as a European and you kind of represent, in a way, European politics.
Yeah.
And the feeling that, well, the slogan "Not in my name," and I mean that's what I totally felt. And I don't want to, like, I know I also didn't want to be only against, to go on the streets and basically express that you're against something. I really wanted to find a creative, positive way to say I'm against, but I'm also for something. I want to provide and offer an alternative solution. And I think that was like the kind of emotional reasoning for, and also just showing, like, these are just people. It's not, like, okay, maybe they pray to another god, or maybe, I don't know, I don't know, they even eat the same food, but it's just like people. And it's just a coincidence that these are not our brothers and sisters. And that was maybe the more the emotional side of motivation. And then the practical.
I can feel it here. Like I'm really touched by this, I have to say. Yeah. All right. Sorry.
No, don't worry, don't worry. The more kind of practical side, I think, is what you also mentioned a little bit, is this feeling of, like, it's actually not that hard to do something. It was really with this. I mean, of course, the impact, you can always debate how big is the impact, but we felt with this washing machine project, it was like, yeah, we saved hundreds of euros.
Yes.
With not like so much work to do it. It's just wanting to do it and basically not giving up easily. And I think that was the key moment for thinking, like, it is actually possible to do something, and it's better to do something smaller rather than nothing. And that was the key moment, I think, for both of us, to also, like, in the last 2 years, to still keep going, although we were both living in different. I was living in Paris for the last 2 years. I only now moved back, so we were in different countries, but to believe in that it's possible to do something.
Definitely, man. I mean, I think this is so important, and, like, good on you for, like, really keep pushing forward, and for really doing this, because I really, really strongly believe in that as well, that every single little thing counts. If everyone out there, if every one of us would just do a little thing, then the impact would be massive. It's like, I think it stops a lot of people from doing something that they always think they have to solve a huge problem out there. And then they feel overwhelmed, because obviously that's much harder as well. But if everyone would just be, or, like, more of us would just be saying, hey, let's just do this little thing, every person and every euro, everything counts, that, then the world would actually be a pretty good place, I think.
Absolutely, yeah, I totally agree with you. I mean, I think I spoke quite recently, actually, it's not that long ago, to a very wise person who also told me, like, Vera, maybe, you don't have to think you will change the whole world, but you have to pick a battle or a passion or whatever you're happy to fight for, and you're happy to push forward. And I think if you find that, that's already in itself feels right and feels good. And then, of course, obviously, you want to have the highest impact possible. But then, in the end, it's like it's already just doing it, which I think inspires other people, and which like shows that things are possible that you can't maybe even measure that easily. So yeah,
Exactly. It's also, as you say, it's also inspiring other people. It's kind of bringing them along. Like you always, I mean, you obviously surely also created a pretty strong community around it already. And then people see that, and then maybe new ideas arise. And definitely. And there's a whole energy in, as you said in the beginning, there's a movement basically, coming, and that's really, really important. Now, I know that the name Mimicry is also incredibly well chosen, and it has such a powerful meaning, actually. For the listeners out there, could you describe what Mimicry means and basically why you chose the name?
Yeah, of course. So mimicry is a phenomena in nature which basically describes either insects or plants that pretend to be something or someone else. And they do that either to not get eaten or to eat more or to basically to survive. And why we chose this name is because mimicry for us is really about changing perspective, about realizing that often we categorize and label things, and this is the way we perceive them. So, well, you can see a broken rubber boat as a broken rubber boat that's waste and that you have to bring to landfill, and that is just basically a burden. But you can also think about it as a new future, super beautiful bag or backpack. And the same holds true for human beings. You can label them as refugees, and then you associate certain characteristics with them, and this will shape your behavior towards them. And you can also see them as friends or as colleagues, and this will change your behavior, and this will change and open so many opportunities if for the things we, well, not only for these two examples, but I think in general in life, if we see that there is often a possibility to have different perspectives on things. So this is why we wanted to choose a name that embodies this changing of perspective.
Yeah, nice, man. There's a lot of thought that went into this. I really, really like it. And there's also the tagline. Basically, your tagline is "It's time to write a new story," which I really, really like. Because I think for you, the storytelling bit is also probably really important in what you do, right?
Yeah, absolutely, exactly. I mean, it's we really want to also have products that speak for themselves. So we don't want to be like only interesting people because of our story, but this is clearly what matters most to us. And it's really this idea of creating a new way of living together and creating a new way of showing that you can be sustainable and you can be social and you can be sexy, and it doesn't have to be exclusive, and you're either the one or the other. And just also show that even in challenging situations, and I think we talked about this a little bit before, that so many people feel that this is just a challenge and a burden, that so many people come to Germany and to Europe now, and that is like, we have to be afraid and we have to be careful, and how should we do that? But that there is actually also a lot of potential, and that there is also, this could be also a great new start to learn from each other and to create a new and open society. And we really want to show that with our project.
Wow, that's really, really awesome. I mean, for me, sometimes I step back and I think like, why are we humans so scared of one another? Why? I mean, of course, there are reasons, but sometimes it's just like, hey, it could just be so much better. And I think there are luckily, lots of passionate people out there as well now who really steer more in this direction. And definitely what you just said as well, is that being sustainable and like in all ways, no matter if it's environmental or social or economic, the whole range of sustainability doesn't have to be a trade-off anymore, actually. And people really need to see that, and I think they start doing this. And for example, by creating, I guess for you it's important, you said before that the first bag that you created you probably wouldn't sell now anymore, but so it's important to create beautiful products that people also want, and that they see, hey, I don't have to go for something that's minor in quality or minor in look or whatever, but I can actually do something as a consumer. So that's really, really cool. And then, of course, for me as a circular economy enthusiast, I love that you put people's attention towards seeing the value in waste. I mean, you give new life to material that normally would have been just out there, like plastics being in nature and everything. So, I mean, you say you are an environmentalist, but the link to circular economy, was that also something, or to zero waste, was it something you looked into before already, or was it something that basically came up for you there on the ground?
Yeah, no. So I actually I worked the last 2 years at UN Environment on the topics of resource efficiency and circular economy on a very much more academic level, but a lot with these topics. And I think it's on the one hand, it's really this. Well, I think the circular economy revolution that interests us as well as a team and as a project, and thinking about how we could do that in the future. But I think also well, as I said, I'm an environmentalist, but then on the other hand, I'm also very materialistic in a way. Like I have some things that I really love, but I love them because they have a story or an attachment or a history, and I think this is also I would even say it's not only that we reuse something that is otherwise waste and has no meaning, but this is like material that is historical and that is like telling a story that is not only beautiful clearly, but that is happening right now, and that is connected to a lot of hope and courage, and then continuing this story and basically using these products, giving the opportunity also for the people who make them to continue their story, I think is what for me as well makes the material so special.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, definitely. And I mean, there we can actually straight away jump to the people who make them as well, because that's really, really interesting too. Your team, you have a super multicultural team, and especially the designers and the tailors who basically have a migrant background themselves, who have been refugees, which is incredible just to see that, to see that loop, that closed loop in that way, as you just said. Do you sometimes, I mean, how is that? I mean, do you sometimes talk about their own stories, and how does it feel for them to work with these materials? Is it hard, or is it something positive, or?
I mean, yeah, clearly with working together so closely, we also talk about the stories or the path of Abid and Ali and Khaldun. But also, I think for them, working with the material is really, I mean, it's their job, and it's what they really like to do. I mean, in the beginning, before we started the project, we were a bit hesitant using this material, because we thought like maybe for some people they get reminded of a very difficult time in their life, and I'm sure there's some for whom it holds true. But actually, with the people that we work with, and we also work with to like start a project, they were all much more saying that it actually is important for them for the aspect of saving history and of remembering what's going on.
So I guess it gives them a lot of meaning as well, right?
Yeah, exactly. And but then also, I mean, we now work with this every day, and they work with this every day, so it's also really kind of getting normal. And it's just like, I mean, we come to work and we have fun, and it's not that we sit every day and be like, oh my god, this is so you know, it's like, no. And then, I mean,
how did you actually all find together? I mean, it's become pretty big now, the team, right? I mean, how many are you?
Yeah, we're 7 like stable, fixed people in the team, but then also for different things that we do or organize, we have a lot of volunteers who help out.
Yeah.
But yeah, we came all together actually through Facebook, and a lot of kind of, when we started, we put a Facebook post that we look for people, and then Abid came, and then at one point he brought another friend, and then again somebody told another friend, so it was very kind of year by year. And yeah, and now, I mean, they are the experts of explaining us how we learned so much about sewing machines, because we both not designers or tailors, so it's really them who have the expert knowledge and who teach us how to do a lot of those things. So it's very kind of together feeling in the team, so that's really nice.
That's beautiful. What would you say? I mean, probably you've mentioned maybe a few things already, but what would you say is it that really drives you most? Like the thing that makes you jump out of bed each morning, or also the thing that keeps you actually going?
Yeah, so I think that the thing that makes me jump out of bed every morning is that I can fall asleep at peace. So, which, like, I mean, the feeling that I'm standing up for what I believe in, and then seeing the impact that we already had, so that some people now they can, like, they have a job and they learn German and they have friends, and that the really massively positive response we get from people and the support we got, it's actually not that hard to get up in the morning and be excited to keep going.
I imagine. Oh wow. Yeah, I mean, let's just switch direction a little bit, because I'm also kind of curious about the logistics side. How do you actually source the material? Can you just very quickly walk us through the journey that one of your bags might have gone through?
Of course. So, well, I mean, the first part, I would imagine someone buys this boat somewhere, gets it somewhere, people get in and cross over to the Greek island of Chios, and then it is destroyed most of the times, because it shouldn't go back. And then the amazing organization, the small NGO that we worked with when we were on Chios, the volunteers.
What's the name?
CERST, so it's Chios Eastern Shore Response Team.
Right. Okay. Mm-hmm.
It's a very long name for a very tiny organization. And there are a lot of people volunteering for them, and or sometimes not a lot. So often they also need a lot of people, but they are doing the beach cleaning, and usually they would have thrown the material away, but nowadays they collected. And then either Nora and myself, we went there this year once, for example, for a week to, like, cut it and clean it as much as possible, or other people help us to do that, and then it gets packed into boxes, and then it gets shipped to Berlin. And then in Berlin we welcome the boxes and we bring them to different places, because we don't have storage right now, so we have to kind of find sellers from friends. And then we bring it to our workshop at Fab Lab, and we clean it, and we started working with it.
Right. Fab Lab, that is what exactly? Is it like a co-working space? Or?
Yeah, exactly. It's a design lab in Prenzlauer Berg where there are a lot of projects and also individuals who work on design issues. And luckily, one of the people who work there, Tammy, she's also part of our project. She helps us with the patterns and the printing and all of that. And she brought us there, and now we can work there, and it's an amazing place to be with super inspiring people, and we often get a lot of guests, and there's a lot of interaction there, so we're incredibly happy about having found that place.
Yeah, that's super important, I guess, to have people around you also to kind of, I don't know, just to support mentally, but also to not work alone, even though it's, of course, you guys are working on your project. But yeah, I guess Berlin is giving a good ground there, which brings me to the part where I actually wanted to just quickly talk about Berlin, yeah, as a hub basically for social entrepreneurs a little bit. I mean, first of all, it's a hub for sustainable fashion and design, if not the hub in Europe. But yeah, also for really eco-minded projects and yeah, social businesses and everything to thrive. First of all, would you agree on that? And second, I mean, is there any other reason why you started it here in Berlin and not somewhere else?
Yeah, it's actually a good question because in the beginning we were thinking about whether we should maybe start the project in Greece and start producing something in Athens. But then we really felt exactly what you described. We thought, first of all, we want to do really cool design. We really want to like get contacts who can help us, and that would be best in Berlin. But then also because we both studied here and we have like worked in different places, so we had a really good network in Berlin. And I mean, by now this is like growing and growing, and we really feel it's a good place to develop the project and to bring it forward and to feel
Nice.
that it can grow. So I think, yeah, absolutely agree with what you say about Berlin being a really good place to do something like that.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, as I said, I think it's just really that there's so much happening right now, both in sustainable fashion and also in zero waste, circular economy. And there's many events around it, and so many meetups, and such a strong community. And what I love is that it's so supportive. Of course, there's maybe projects that are kind of competitors, but everyone is still kind of really welcoming, and instead of elbow pushing, really seeing, hey, let's just work together because there's actually another purpose, another why behind it than there would be for just purely profit oriented businesses, I guess.
Absolutely. I mean, I wanted to say that before, exactly the point that you mentioned, that I really feel, I mean, I always wanted to work for like a public good or something bigger. And I was always a bit hesitant, thinking like, oh, in the private sector, I'm not so sure if this is the case, but I really feel exactly you described that in this social entrepreneur scene, especially with a focus on sustainable consumption and production and circular economy, it is like a community that works together and helps each other out. And I think this is super motivating, and just basically going forward and showing who else is maybe not convinced yet that it is possible, and like leading, just just creating basically physical arguments for why it is possible is super nice.
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, your model is basically non-profit, right? I mean, so I mean, the bags they have a certain price, of course, and you sell them. But then, what happens to basically the money that you generate through that?
Yeah, exactly. So we're in a non-profit. So basically, all the money that we get from the bags and backpacks is to cover the costs. So that is from giving some money to the organization that works in Greece, to paying for the material to come here, and then also obviously to support the people who are working together with us also financially, and doing all the work that's around it, but we don't make any gains, and this is not the aim that we have at the moment. It's just basically that we want to also be economically sustainable and not exploit the people we work with, but and neither ourselves. So that's the model we work with right now, and it works quite okay, let's say.
Okay, yeah, I think that's really really important, because there's still this old idea kind of in people's minds that when you do something sustainable or something socially good, then it should not generate money at all. But that doesn't make sense, because then you run out of resources, you burn out, and it just doesn't happen. It also has to be financially sustainable for everyone that's working on, I guess. Otherwise it's gone, or it's always just running on just like 50% or so, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's a bit, I mean, we've still ourselves needed to improve in that, and like when you're so convinced, it's easy to exploit yourself and to like just forget to sleep or to eat, or and just to say like, hey, this is of no help for nobody. And it's important that it's, like you say, like that it's economically also sustainable. And
I understand that. That's the problem that we have sometimes, right? It's like we have a lot of passion for something, and then when you're passionate, you're always willing, this should be for free. I know, okay, let's just do this. But of course, this is something that we have to learn. And I think there's also people out there, and they are ready to pay for certain things. And it would just be amazing if, like, in the future, the social business approach would be just becoming completely the norm. I mean, that would be a dream, and everyone could survive on it, and everyone could have still a nice life. And let's see what happens with that.
No, but exactly. And I think it's really important to believe that this is possible and that we can actually do this, because I think, sometimes this is the issue nowadays, that people feel there is no alternative, and that there is no, it only goal, or the only thing is to not make it worse. But actually, I think we can also do it better. It's not only about not making it worse. It's really possible to make it better. And I think, it's important to stand in for this dream.
Totally. I absolutely agree. What I was wondering, just before we switch over to the last little bit, do you see this as a temporary kind of transitioning project, in the hope that one day, of course, there won't be any more rubber boats from refugees landing on the shores? I mean, probably it won't. Of course, it won't stop from today to tomorrow. But do you have like ideas? Do you have thoughts about then how to change what you do a little bit, or adjust, or?
Definitely. I mean, that's always, or often, the question is like, what if there are no more boats coming? And I mean, exactly like you said, we would celebrate. Exactly. I mean, we would be incredibly happy. But of course, I mean, the core idea of Mimycri is to work together with people who, not even just, I think, newly arrived in Germany, but maybe also people who otherwise have difficulties to enter to the labor market and to work on materials that have a historical meaning or are like in some way special, but to upcycle them into beautiful and high quality design products. And we clearly would already think and brainstorm about what else that could be, but at the moment we are so overwhelmed still with actually working with the boat material that it's more kind of we have a lot of ideas of what else we could do, but first of all, we're quite busy already just doing that.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah. And I mean, really, right at the beginning, you were also saying that you just got like a ton of new materials coming in, actually. So basically, the new year is going to kick off lots of work and lots of new bags, right?
Exactly, absolutely. And yeah, we got some really good feedback about what we are doing right now, and we want to improve like the bags and backpacks that we did, but we also thinking about doing new products, and also, like I said in the beginning, thinking about using the material more as well in an art context of really emphasizing the awareness rising of the product. And I think some of the material we have now we will also use for that as well. So it's,
all right, keep us in the loop definitely, and let us know if there's like a big art project coming up or like any news. So always happy to share it out with our community there.
Absolutely.
All right. So, I mean, I could go on and on forever because there's just so many interesting things that you touch on and everything. But I also don't want to like stretch out your time too much anymore. So let's just swing over to the final little bit where there's just a few questions that I always ask. The first one is, since you started a project, which of course is like still pretty young, but what was one of your biggest learnings on the way?
Yeah, I think, well, maybe two things. Like one, don't let the critics keep you small, or I don't know how to phrase it, but basically there will always, I think, be people who criticize what you do or who find the mistakes, or, and I think it's important and really, really valuable to get constructive criticism, and this is the best way to grow. But then there is also criticism which you don't have to spend energy on, and I think this is really for us as a small, young and new, and also I think in some ways provocative project, a really big learning to like, if you're convinced of what you do your thing and you deal with constructive criticism, and with all the rest, don't let it doubt what you do.
Totally. I mean, that's a really big point. I think if you're creating something successful, then there's always going to be two sides. There's going to be people who love it and then people who criticize it. And as you say, taking not actually letting it completely demotivate you, but really taking actually power and energy from that is actually a really, really good way to go, I guess.
And maybe the other one would be actually that failure is not an option. I mean, not in the way that I think it's totally fine if things don't work out the way you want, and it's totally important to at one point say, okay, we tried this, but maybe the way we did it doesn't work, and we like, I don't know, switch gears or whatever. But to not question so easily what you do, and then the moment you think like it's not an option, that this really failed, you find so many creative ways to also deal with situations in which you just feel like, oh my god, this sucks, and this is difficult, and this is hard, and then it's quite amazing to see what kind of solutions you come up with.
Definitely. Do you have an example of any specific moment?
Yeah, I mean, it really, I think already our start was like that, because when we were nominated for the German Integration Prize last December, and well, we handed in a proposal and we still didn't really have a team together, and at that moment basically we felt like, okay, we in 6 weeks have to put together a crowdfunding campaign. Like, how the hell should we ever do that? But then we were just like, yeah, okay, this is what we have to do. There's no other way. There's no alternative options. So then we like somehow put all our energy together and found amazing people who supported us and who like worked like crazy to make it possible. And 6 weeks later, we had a video and we had a Facebook page and we had a website, and
it's always surprising again and again what we are actually capable of. We always underestimate it so badly.
Absolutely.
Awesome. All right, then if you could change one thing in Berlin within the next 24 hours, what would it be?
Whew. Okay, give me a second.
If you had magical powers.
Yeah. If that would be great. I think, well, this comes more from my environmental side, I guess, but I would totally change it to kind of a Copenhagen style Berlin where, yeah, like cycling would be a lot of fun and would have a lot of space, and cars would have less space. That would be, yeah.
Awesome. I'm definitely with you. I'm so with you. I still haven't made it to Copenhagen. It's incredible, but I just read and heard so much about it and met people from there and everything. And yeah, I 100% sign it. All right. Then, what question should I have asked you but didn't? Was there anything we didn't talk about? Anything that you wanted to let the world out there know about?
I guess we covered quite a bit actually. Um, yeah, actually, yes. One thing that we are looking for, and it would be great if anybody in the community had an idea or a hint, is a new place, because the place where we are now is amazing, but it has to move, and it will change quite a bit of its structure. So possibly we will not be able to stay there. So we are looking for a new home, and in Berlin, and it doesn't have to be big, and it doesn't have to like be fancy or anything. We would love to share with amazing people and have a little bit of storage place and a little bit of place for a few people to work together. And yeah, that is some big to do for us for the next week. So if anybody has any ideas or contacts or whatever, we would absolutely be grateful.
All right. So big shout out, people there. If you know anything or anyone, or if you have a space that you want to share, that you want to rent out and support a really, really beautiful project, then get in touch. Get in touch with us or get in touch with you. How can people contact you best?
Yeah, exactly. They can write us a message on Facebook. They can write us an email, whatever they prefer. And a big bonus is that Abid, one of our tailors, is the most amazing cook, and most of the time he brings the most delicious food. So you would definitely also benefit from that.
That sounds amazing. I wish I had a space. All right. Now, last and final question. If there was one thing you could pass on to the Green Berlin community, like any message, anything that comes to your mind straight away, what would it be?
Yeah, I think we're on the right path, all of us, and it's encouraging to just like go around, meet people, and support each other and encourage each other and make the things you believe in stronger with lifting each other up, because I think that's really crucial, and this is a great community to do that.
Definitely. Bam. Yeah. Thank you so much. It's been incredible to talk to you. There's been a lot of energy, a lot of emotions, a lot of like just a fascinating story coming over here. And I just really deeply acknowledge you for the things that you do. Definitely keep going and just follow like all the things that you basically mentioned. And thanks so much for making this world a little bit better. And thanks a lot for your time.
Yeah, thank you so much for inviting us and for having this really interesting conversation, and also of course for all the work that you do. It's amazing.
Thank you. Have a nice day. Guys, I'm just blown away by the amount of dedicated people I get to meet on this show and in everyday life. You know, people just like Vera from Mimycri, who you just listened to. It really, really strengthens me in my beliefs that we can change the world for the better, and that it's not too late, and that it's right to be positive and let positive energy fuel you. Now, if you got just as much excitement and energy out of this episode, or just in general, if you enjoyed listening to it, then don't forget to hop on over to iTunes and leave us a short review. Your feedback is super important to make the show better and also to spread the messages to more and more people out there. I'm really, really grateful for everyone who supports us. You're really making our work worthwhile. And I don't just say this, I really, really mean it. Now, I hope you have a huge smile on your face. Go out there, spread some positive future vibes, and always remember to keep it